Are you looking to grow sweet potatoes in your garden, but you don't really know how to get started? Well, look no further. Follow along with me as I take you through the simple steps to ensure a huge sweet potato harvest. I give you the sweet potato, or Ipomoea batatas if you prefer. High in vitamins A, B6, and C, and a great source of potassium and fiber, sweet potatoes are as nutritious as they are delicious. They're also super easy to grow in the home garden, and grow they do. From just one sweet potato, you could grow over 100 pounds of sweet potatoes. Did you know that just because you might know how to grow potato, it doesn't mean you know how to grow a sweet potato? Sweet potatoes and potatoes are not siblings. In fact, they're not even cousins. Potatoes are members of the nightshade family, which makes them close relatives to tomatoes, peppers, and even tobacco. Sweet potatoes, on the other hand, are flowering, vining plants and are members of the morning glory family. Potatoes are also true tubers, which actually means that they are the swollen stem of a potato plant, and they store energy underground, and they sprout new stems from eyes that grow more tubers. Sweet potatoes are tuberous roots, meaning that they are true root vegetables. And while it might look like it, sweet potatoes don't have eyes, and that's because they're not stems. They actually put out adventitious shoots, which you'll more likely hear referred to as slips. When it comes to planting potatoes, you're typically planting the whole thing, or you're cutting it into pieces that has some sprouted eyes, and then you're growing your new potato plants from that. Whereas with sweet potatoes, you plant the slips. And as those slips take root, those roots start to fatten up and store energy, making new sweet potatoes. And whereas with potatoes, you have early, mid, and late season varieties that you can harvest throughout the summer, sweet potatoes are a late summer crop. So you want to make sure that you time things right to get them out in the garden with enough time for them to fatten up before the frost and freeze kills off the vines. Between 90 and 120 days, depending on the variety. When it comes to varieties of sweet potatoes, there are dozens and dozens to choose from across various seed catalogs. But if you've never grown sweet potatoes before, I recommend going to your local grocery store and scoping out the organic produce section and picking up one of each to bring home for a taste test. I think this is a super important step because remember, we're talking about growing a lot of sweet potatoes, so we want to make sure that we like the flavor of the ones that we're growing. Growing 100 pounds of sweet potatoes can be a lot less fun if you don't like the taste of the variety you grew. It also gives you a chance to be a little bit more adventurous when you grow your sweet potatoes. A lot of us are used to orange or red varieties like this Jewel, or my favorite here, the red garnet. But there are other things that you can choose from in your organic produce section, like this purple variety. This Stokes purple is actually a nice, brilliant purple inside and has a great floral flavor. And if you don't want to get too sweet with your sweet potatoes, you can always pick up some of the white flesh varieties, like this Hana or this Japanese sweet potato. Both of these actually eat a lot more like a white potato than they do your traditional sweet potatoes. Doing it this way and growing your own slips is also way more cost effective than ordering slips from a catalog. I have 5 varieties here that I bought for about $3 a pound. From each of these sweet potatoes, I expect to grow on the conservative end anywhere from 10 to 20 good-sized slips. The same amount of slips purchased from a seed catalog could cost you well over $30. And once you've decided which sweet potato varieties are right for you in your home garden, you're ready to start the process of growing your own slips. And you really only need a few materials in order to make this happen. Now, the method that I'm using today is the bin method. But there is another way of growing sweet potato slips, and you can actually suspend a sweet potato root side down into a glass or a vase that has some water. It also takes a little bit longer than the bin method. I really like the bin method here because you get more slips faster. And what we want, because we want to grow over 100 pounds of sweet potatoes per potato, we want to grow as many healthy slips as quickly as we possibly can. The bin method allows for that. The glass method, it's a nice way to get a few slips. You can absolutely do it and it works fine, but if you're pressed for time or if you want a lot more slips out of your potatoes, go ahead and use the bin method. What we need is we need a bin, of course, and we need a lid that can fit onto the top of the bin. It doesn't have to be a lid that goes with the bin. It helps, but you're not going to be locking things in. So it doesn't have to be a super securely fitting lid. You just want something that is generally going to be able to set on the top of the bin in order to trap in some heat and moisture while your slips start to grow. You're also going to want, of course, some potting mix. And that's the difference between the glass and vase method and the bin method. You're not just starting your potatoes or your sweet potatoes in water. You're starting them in soil. So your sweet potatoes will start to take root in the soil. That soil will have nutrients that help to feed the sweet potato, so the slips are going to be nice and healthy. So what we'll do is we'll get our soil into the container, and you're going to want something along the lines of about, call it 3 to 4 inches of soil down at the bottom of the container. If your soil is not pre-moistened, do yourself a favor, and once you put the soil into the bin, mix a little bit of water into it, because you want to make sure that your potting mix isn't hydrophobic. You don't want the water to just pool on the surface of your soil. See how it's still a nice, open, airy texture, but it holds together a lot better. It doesn't just fall apart the way super dry soil would. And it doesn't hold together and have water dripping out of it like it would if I had over moisturized. Now we can place our sweet potatoes inside of the bin. And you don't have to be super strategic about how you place them. You want to give them a little bit of clearance, but I mean, it's okay if they're oriented in different directions. Just try to make sure that they're not touching each other. But it's not enough just to set these on the surface of the soil. You actually want to dig them into the soil a little bit. Cover them, call it about halfway. So think about it to where if you can get both ends of the sweet potato just below the soil surface, then you've got them positioned correctly. And once your sweet potatoes have been nestled into the soil in your bin, you can add a lid. But you don't want to secure the lid. So I'm not going to use these locking mechanisms on my bin in order to hold the lid on. I'm actually going to leave a little bit of a gap here between my bin and the lid. What that's going to do is it's going to help some of the moisture get released, but it's going to trap in a decent bit of the moisture and a good bit of the heat. And that's what we want. Sweet potatoes thrive in environments that are warm and humid. And that's what we're recreating here in this bin. That's also why the bin method works faster and arguably better than the suspension method with water in a glass or in a vase. This bin is going to serve as a mini greenhouse for your sweet potatoes, and it's going to create just the right environment for them to sprout. The next step is just finding somewhere out of the way that you can put the bin while the sweet potatoes work on sprouting slips. And you can pretty much choose anywhere indoors, provided that it's warm enough. For example, here in my basement, which is my general growing space, this time of year, it's only about 63 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit, which is going to be too chilly to wake up my sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes need between 70 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit in order to sprout. So I needed to help them out a little bit. And I did that by putting the bin on top of a heating mat. That heating mat is set at a temperature that's going to help heat the bin from the bottom. It'll heat up the soil past that 70-degree threshold, so the sweet potatoes will be in a prime environment for them to start sprouting slips. Also, don't worry too much about light right now. The sweet potatoes, really all they need in order to sprout is going to be that humidity and that warmth. The light will come later once they sprout. That light will then start to feed the leaves of your sweet potato slips. So all I have to do now is just come down and check every once in a while. I'm probably going to check every day. Not because I expect that tomorrow or the day after these are going to have sprouted, but because I'm excited about the process. But believe me, within the next couple of weeks, I'm going to have some sweet potato slips. All right, it's been just about a month, and I am super excited to show you how things are progressing inside of the tub. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take the lid off, because check this out. Take a look at all these sweet potato slips. This is incredible. And this happened in the matter of 4 or 5 weeks. That's how much growth we're seeing already from the sweet potatoes in this bin. We're going to remove the lid and we're going to start to add light, because the light is going to feed the leaves through photosynthesis. Now, one of the things that we're going to want to make sure that we do a little bit more regularly than we had been as we were waiting for them to sprout is applying some water. We want to make sure that the roots growing out of these sweet potatoes aren't getting too thirsty. So make sure that you're consistently watering your sweet potatoes now that they've sprouted. And just because this is where I chose to grow my sweet potato slips, it doesn't mean that you need to have some sort of setup with grow lights. You can absolutely set up your tub of sweet potatoes near a south-facing sunny window and achieve the same results. Just make sure that now that they've sprouted, you're giving them some water and you don't have the lid on, so there's a good bit of airflow. Now, the next big question to answer is when to start harvesting your sweet potato slips. These aren't quite there yet. I'm seeing a lot of good growth, but I want to make sure that they get tall enough before I start harvesting the slips. So I'm going to use a little bit of a visual indicator to let me know when the slips are ready to be harvested. And that indicator is when the slips have grown taller than the tub. So as soon as I start to see slips that are peeking out from the top, that's when I know that that specific slip is ready for harvest. Now, some of these slips are nearly there, only just a few more inches until they're peeking out of the top of the tub, which will then set us up for the next step in growing our own sweet potatoes. All right, so I admit, it's been more than just a few days. It's actually been 10 days since we last checked in. And look at these slips and how much they have grown over the edge of this tub. These are absolutely ready to be harvested. And they're super long, but I'm not worried about it, because that just means that I'm going to be able to get more slips from each one of these sections. And I'll show you how to do that right now. Okay, now before you get at it, you need to make sure that you have a couple of supplies so you can properly harvest your sweet potato slips. First, you're going to need something sharp to cut your sweet potato slips off with. You can also just remove them by kind of pulling them off of your sweet potato, but this helps mitigate the risk of damaging any roots that have already started to develop. You're also going to want a jar or a glass that has some nice room temperature, clean, fresh water. I just took some spring water from a bottle, put it into this little jar. This is where I'm going to put my harvested sweet potato slips once they're removed from the mother root and they're separated into multiple slips. To start harvesting your sweet potato slips, all you need to do is find where they are on the mother root and how they're attached. And since this one is kind of growing a little bit underneath, so it's coming out of the side of the sweet potato, you just want to make sure that you get at it as close as you can to the mother root. And you can, if you want to, just pull and there's your sweet potato slip. And for removal with sharp shears or a knife, you just want to make sure that you get as close as possible to the mother root and snip them off. Notice how bunched these can get together. This is a huge collection of sweet potato slips, just waiting to be removed from the mother root. And now that we've harvested a decent bit of our slips, we can set the tub aside and we can get to breaking these down into even smaller slips. And this right here is the beauty of growing our own slips. From each slip, you can actually segment it out and create even more plants that you can grow in your garden. As you remove the slips, notice how each of them have leaves growing out of different sections. These are called leaf nodes. And the cool thing about sweet potato slips is that roots will emerge from every leaf node. This means that you can separate your sweet potato slip into segments. And as long as each segment has at least one leaf node, you can grow an entire sweet potato plant from that one segment. All you have to do is carefully separate your sweet potato slip into individual segments that each have a leaf node. Carefully use some pruning shears, scissors, or a sharp knife, and segment your sweet potato slip into multiple plants. And when you consider that each sweet potato plant is going to yield you between 4 and 5 pounds of sweet potatoes, segmenting one slip into 6 adds up really quickly. All right, now check this out. This is a perfect example of how you know that roots are going to grow from each of the leaf nodes. Right here on this slip, right at the leaf node, you see these little bumps. There are 2 here, there are 3 or 4 on the other side. These bumps are roots that are growing out of the stem right at the leaf node. Once they're separated into individual plants, all you have to do is set them into water and watch them start to take root. Take a look at these slips just a couple of weeks after they've been separated and put into water. That is a ton of root growth. And the great thing about sweet potato slips is they could just sit in this jar of water until they're ready to go outside. And once it's finally warm enough, it's time to come outside and get your sweet potatoes ready for transplanting. You're going to want to make sure that you harden these off over the course of, call it 5 to 7 days. Because these have spent their entire lives so far indoors, you want to make sure that they don't get super shocked by being transplanted outside too quickly. So make sure that they get an opportunity to acclimate to the outdoor conditions, just like you would any other plant that you're starting indoors. And because when you harvested your slips from your sweet potatoes, you separated them into smaller slips, you're going to be able to have more sweet potato plants in your bed. In this bed alone, I expect I'll have between 20 and 30 sweet potato plants. All you have to do is make sure that they're spaced between 12 and 18 inches apart from one another. Because remember, the sweet potatoes are going to grow straight from these roots. So once you get these planted right below the surface, that's where your new sweet potatoes are going to grow. And you're going to grow between 4 and 5 pounds of sweet potatoes per plant that you put into the ground, as long as you make sure that they're spaced well enough. Now it's still way too early and far too cool here in my 5B garden for me to get my sweet potatoes planted into this bed. So I'm actually going to bring these back inside and put them back on the windowsill. But for many of you, the time is coming sooner rather than later to get your sweet potatoes into the ground. You just want to make sure that your temperatures are favorable for your sweet potatoes. You need your soil temperatures to be consistently over 60 degrees, maybe even pushing 70 in order for your sweet potatoes to really start to take off. Anything colder than that and they're not going to grow, and if it gets too cold, you risk damaging the plants. So I hope you were able to follow along and see how truly easy it is to grow your own sweet potato slips from store-bought sweet potatoes. Give it a shot this season and let us know how it worked out for you. Happy growing.